Let's check out how serious all of the danger is, what we need to know from Republican Congressman Peter King, who is a member of the House Homeland Security Committee, former chairman, and also the chairman of the subcommittee on counterterrorism and intelligence. Congressman, good morning to you.
Good morning to you, Jamie, as always.
Thank you for joining us. Look, a lot of folks made it there safely, but let's face it, it's Russia, you know, friend or foe. When you go to Russia, you pretty much can expect they're awfully good at listening to your conversations and at cybersecurity techniques. How big is the threat here in the States right now?
Well, as far as cyber attacks and cyber hacking, we have to assume it's going to happen in Russia. I would just tell people not to download anything. Don't give any information to anyone that you don't have to, as far as email, as far as credit card information. And again, anytime I've been to Russia, we're always told to assume that anything you say is going to be intercepted. I don't see any new cyber threats coming as far as Americans are concerned. And I think the main terror threat we have to worry about at the games is actual attacks by the Chechen terrorists and the other Islamic terrorists in that region. And the fact that, there hasn't been an attack now for the first 3 days, thank God. Let's hope it continues. We hope it's going to continue that way. But the worst thing we could do is in any way let down our guard, because we know these terrorist groups have made it there. They are determined to launch an attack, and they've proven in the past to be very effective. And I'm not that impressed by Russia's counterterrorism efforts.
How sophisticated are they, or not sophisticated?
Well, it's sophisticated in that they're able to blend in. They've been able to carry out a series of attacks in Russia. And, the Russians they're very heavy-handed. Like, they do have the ring of steel around the Olympics. And that will be, I would say, somewhat successful. But they're really not very much for nuance. And certainly any area outside the Olympics or even adjacent to the Olympics is a target. And I think the terrorists could be successful there. As you mentioned before in the opening, our government has become aware of threats using toothpaste, using cosmetic holders, which can be brought onto planes. They can be perhaps brought into the Olympic site itself without being detected. So this shows, the ingenuity that they have. And in the past, the Russians have not been that good in stopping attacks. They're good after the attack is launched. But by then, from an American perspective, that's too late.
Talk to me in terms of all the briefings and the situations you've been involved with, even dating back to 9/11 or before. Homeland Security has always been your #1 priority in keeping us safe and also in your expertise. The fact that Ed Snowden is sitting, former U.S. citizen, now considered in many circles a terrorist in a sense, he's sitting there in Russia. So are they friend or foe? I mean, how much can we really count on Russia to be keeping our folks safe and to not be looking for ways to either shame the U.S. or hurt us in some more violent way?
Jamie, you made a great point. I don't think we can count on the Russians for anything unless it's in their own very narrow self-interest. I mean, the fact that they are allowing Snowden to stay there, that they're allowing him to do whatever it is that he's doing, and they allow him to put out these statements and pronouncements, again, that's something we wouldn't do to any country we consider an ally or a friend. That shows the real, to me, the real undercurrent of belief in Russia right now. They're still hostile. They are desperate to become a world power again. Just the fact that in the lead-up to the Olympics, and still, to some extent, they're refusing to share intelligence with us because they have this paranoid view that we're out to get them. They think the whole world looks at them the way they look at the rest of the world. And also the fact that they're this pride. Putin wants to show that he's a czar or whatever he imagines himself being, and that's why they won't. One of the reasons they won't cooperate, unlike the Chinese, unlike the Brits, unlike the Greeks, who totally cooperated during those Olympics.
If there was ever a time to cooperate, they gave that big speech about how we can all get along, a speech that was in fact edited by a liberal network or left-leaning network.
Right.
Interesting that everyone made it there safely, thank goodness. It's all about the athletes, I understand, but a lot of family members and fans did go. What is your message to anyone that is there who would be making the trip back home? You always say if you see something, say something, but what do you want them to be alert to?
Well, the main thing they should do, Jamie, is, they're going to feel very relaxed. They're going to get caught up in the euphoria of the games, and they may not take seriously what they're asked to do. So we have security people over there. We have people from our government to monitor what's happening, and even the hint of trouble, telling people where to go, where to stay, where not to go. And, the temptation is at night, you have a few drinks and you want to go wandering off, or you think, hey, this is safe, everyone's getting along here. I would say the main thing they should do is do what they're asked to do, especially the athletes and the family members. I can see an athlete, he or she has finished their competition. They're very euphoric. They want to enjoy themselves, celebrate, and they just may think, okay, they're being overly cautious here. We can go out and have a good time. Don't worry about it. That's exactly what the terrorists are looking for. So the main thing I would say is just listen and do what they're asked to do.
I hope that there's, the news out of there is just the great success of the athletes and nothing more. There's already talk about the Ukraine wanting to have the Olympics in 2022. We'll talk about that another time. Thank you,
Jamie,
Congressman.
let me ask you, are you going to box in the next Summer Olympics?
Sir, we do have a standing duel upcoming. We'll do it. For sure.
You're too mean for me. You're too tough.
Today you win. Thank you, sir, so much.
All right, that'll be what Olympics that
could we sell?
Could be.
Or could that be pay-per-view?
Yeah.
All right, let's work on it.
Yeah, go for the gold.